The first part of the film is set in Berlin during the Second World War. Hitler is accompanied by Keppel, a behavior consultant. Hitler expresses his disapproval of the reception given to Keppel by the public. He argues that even if the Nazi salute is out of date, people should at the very least raise their hands to their wrists to show respect. Then he tells how he has done all a person can to destroy the foundations of the enemy who has desecrated their land. He is surprised by Germans' presence and considers it alarming that he is also there. The next scene shows him waking up on the ground in a jungle. He notices that the enemy aircrafts are absent from the skies and guesses that they may have taken a break. A ball starts to bounce towards him and stops just by his side. He stands up and walks past the bush toward a building. Then 3 little children come up to him and ask about his well-being. Hitler sees them and believes they are the nation's future. Then he inquires about the route to the street. A reporter named Fabian Sawatzki is recording the children at that very moment with his camera. On the other side of the screen, Hitler may be seen. He grabs his army cap and tells himself he has to visit the Führer bunker. When Hitler enters the street, he is astounded to see people riding one-wheeled bicycles. When he sees that others are taking pictures of him, he remarks that while the rubble is gone, people have become insane. Then he feels a modern car in his hand and wonders whether he went into a coma and missed the wind. He becomes conscious that he does not fully understand his situation and sets himself on alert to learn more. He then approaches a guy and asks him where the chancellery is, but the man instead requests a photo from him. As others approach him and snap photographs in turn, he is disturbed by the flashes of the cameras. He's puzzled by what's happening, thinking that something strange has happened here. Hitler notices a lady on her phone conversing in German as he leaves. When he goes near to her and asks her what date it is, she becomes scared and sprays in his eyes. Hitler sobs in pain as his eyes get blood red and his eyesight becomes foggy. He stumbles and makes his way to a neighboring newspaper shop. When he sees the date October 3, 2014 written on the paper, he collapses to the ground. In another place, Mr. Christoph Sensenbrink receives high acclaim from Counter, the head of a TV station, for his outstanding performance in that role. He offers a better alternative, but instead promotes Miss Katja Bellini as the new managing director. Christoph is astounded and unsatisfied as a result. He walks into his office and pours his rage on Fabian, a struggling filmmaker. Fabian makes every effort to convince his boss, but he is dismissed and dragged away by the guards. Hitler awakens at the news shop sometime later and inquires about the day. He verifies that the year is really 2014. Unsure of what is happening, Hitler wonders whether the shopkeeper has abducted him and thinks if the enemy's secret agency is playing a trick. If the shopkeeper is working with the enemy, he threatens to murder him, but the shopkeeper instead offers him a bar of chocolate. After much work, Hitler manages to open it and take a smell. He declares it to be industrially processed grain and asks the shopkeeper whether there is still a bread shortage. Hitler is mistaken for an actor by the shopkeeper, who inquires whether a documentary is being filmed nearby. The shopkeeper then says that Hitler looks like the Führer perfectly. In response, Hitler says that he is the Führer. Hitler then notices the Turkish publication and inquires about the availability of Stürmer or Panzerbach. The shopkeeper says that Turkish clients are increasing. Hitler is shocked by the Turkish population in Berlin. He then begins reading the newspaper for information. He makes the assumption as he reads that he didn't win the last war and that Germany was placed in the hands of awkward ladies with the charm of a wet noodle. He also bemoans Poland's existence and considers the war to have been a complete waste of time. Fabian, who is upset about being dismissed, tears as he watches his soccer reporting on camera. His mother comforts him and tells him to stop the film, recognizing Hitler in the background. Fabian finds it amusing that someone who matches Hitler so much exists. Back in the shop, the owner tells Hitler to set in place the newspaper and stand outside. Hitler takes offense at being required to work. The store owner advises Hitler to wash his stinky clothing. He then goes to a wash and asks them to clean his uniform. Since he can't leave nude, Hitler asks as to if they have another outfit. Hitler may then be seen wearing a sweatshirt and pants as he makes his way to the news vendor. On the other side, Fabian has tracked him down and is waiting for him at the store. Hitler appears before him, and he is astounded by his appearance. Hitler is asked by Fabian whether he may be filmed as he marches across contemporary Germany. Hitler agrees with the concept. Fabian sets off on his journey with Hitler after receiving some money and a vehicle from his mother. The two end up in a hotel, where Hitler is astonished to see the television. Then he makes the decision to discuss politics in Fabian's presentation. He visits several locations to inquire about people's political opinions. After conducting the interviews, he discovers that during his absence, democracy had little effect on the populace. He observes people's feelings of unhappiness and repressed rage and is reminded of the 1930s, when many had similar beliefs but did not use the phrase political disenchantment. People inform Hitler about the country's immigration issue, prompting Hitler to support his theory that mixing races does not work. Later, Fabian queries Hitler about the origin of his unique mustache. Hitler responds by saying he trimmed his mustache to suit a gas mask. Later on, the two find themselves on a farm, where Hitler is bit by a dog. He fires at the animal out of anger. After scolding him, Fabian seizes the rifle. Fabian soon runs out of money throughout the trip. However, he comes up with an idea and convinces passers-by to have their drawings made by Hitler. Hitler creates humorous artwork that people find interesting and buy. Once they have enough money, they continue their journey. Back in town, Fabian shows Christoph a video of Hitler. Fabian posted the video online, where it has received a lot of views. The video's high amount of views impressed Christoph. He asks Hitler's name and phone number from Fabian. Christoph assumes Hitler is mad after meeting him and asks that Fabian remove him from the office. Before leaving, Hitler approaches the director's office and requests her to help him save Germany. Bellini is impressed by the concept and inquires about the strategy. She instantly requests her assistant to develop an appropriate TV format for broadcasting the furor on Hitler's concept. Then, Fabian threatens Christoph, saying that he'll take Hitler if he doesn't return his job. Christoph hires him as a kitchen boy after hearing this and promises to promote him when a new editing position becomes available. Hitler is eventually assigned a table in the TV studio. Hitler needs computer assistance, so Christoph asks Kromier to help. Hitler remembers his era's computers and thinks them one of the greatest inventions. Hitler is told that his name is already taken when Kromier attempts to sign him up for mail. Hitler grumbles about people using his name and orders her to use New Reich's chancellery, which he loved. Christoph plans to put Hitler on a live comedy show called Whoa Dude. Because Bellini received a promotion instead of him, he is still enraged and wants to bring her problems. He aims to introduce racism into the discussion by making caustic remarks about Jews and throw out Hitler. The show begins, and the host, Witzigmann, invites Hitler to the stage. The crowd gossips about Hitler's looks, but as Hitler looks at them, the hall becomes quiet. Hitler quickly breaks the silence, but does not deliver the lines exactly as written. He says that he is supposed to deliver a joke on immigrants, but he will not. He says that while television is a brilliant human innovation, the programs shown on it are ridiculous. He highlights issues like unemployment and poverty while predicting that the nation's citizens are blindly sliding over a precipice. Hitler makes a promise to fight against the TV not only until it broadcasts the abyss but also until he defeats them. Everyone applauds him for his unique vision. The presenter Witzigmann becomes jealous of Hitler's fame. Bellini asks that Christoph include Hitler in each show. Due to the failure of his scheme, Christoph feels upset. The next scene shows Hitler doing interviews on several TV programs and stating that his goal is to restore Germany's greatness. He meets several individuals and party leaders as his popularity soars. By discussing his thoughts, he begins to win them over. Hitler and Fabian pay a visit to the NPD office in Berlin one day. He meets Ulf Bern, the federal chairman of the NPD, and inquires about the progress of his case. Hitler disagrees with him and states that they have spent enough time, and the movement remains stunned by their remarks for decades. When the police and the district attorney show up at the TV studio, Christoph becomes ecstatic and delighted. They say they are there in response to a charge of violating anti-hate legislation. Bellini queries what they should do next. Christoph quickly mentions that they may need to postpone the Furore performance. Badia says they are free to continue broadcasting. Bellini exhales in relief as Christoph makes a fake grin. After the Dia departs, Kromier gives Christoph a letter with the money for the dog that Hitler had previously in his journey killed. The letter is eagerly received by Christoph, who feels it may be a cause for trouble. Hitler is then subjected to a TV broadcast where he is directly questioned about his many contributions to the war. Hitler replies that he wants to help people, but the interviewer counters by saying that none of his actions can be justified. He plays the video of him shooting the dog. The crowd is disturbed by the footage. Hitler threatens to treat him similarly because he is enraged. He says that he will convert their studio into a tank parking lot. When he observes people's unfavorable reactions, Christoph becomes happy. Bellini is fired after the horrible interview, and Christoph is hired as the new manager. Following that, Hitler moves in with Fabian in his home. He begins writing his second book after expressing amusement at the course fate has gone. The book is shortly available in stores. 3 months later, everyone is gathered at a meeting at the TV studio to discuss the enormous loss the firm has suffered. Christoph feels Witzigmann's show will get them back on track, but one of his employees reminds him that he has resigned. Christoph becomes irritated and angry with the chosen staff for losing the show. Christoph is intrigued by a staff member's suggestion to bring Hitler back. He goes in search of Hitler once again and offers Fabian $1 million to invest in the movie that Fabian and Hitler are making in exchange for their permission to show the film on their television. When Hitler and Fabian arrive to Cromier's home, the grandmother of Cromier recognizes Hitler. She asserts that Hitler murdered everyone by gassing them. She says that he is a criminal and tells him to go. Hitler expresses amazement that Cromier is a Jew when they are in the automobile. He begins to insult Jews by referring to them as less than human. Hitler's acts and his words disappoint Fabian. Hitler is asked to reenact how he arrived at the location back on the set by Fabian. He asks Hitler what occurred before the ball came rolling to him in the woods, but Hitler has no memory of it. Later that evening, 3 goons surround him as he leaves the studio. They label him the cause for retaking Germany and hit him hard in the face. Hitler finds himself in a hospital in front of Bellini as soon as he opens his eyes. Fabian watches the video he recorded about the kids and soccer at the same time. He checks it carefully and discovers Hitler has risen from where he was sleeping. Fabian is astounded by what happened before it. He rushes there and discovers a sign indicating the historical site of the Fuhrer bunker there. Fabian goes to the hospital but does not see Hitler. Bellini says that he is going to the filming location. Fabian says that he is the actual Adolf Hitler, but Bellini does not believe him. Fabian behaves like a mad while desperately trying to convey his theory. He runs away as the guards attempt to capture him. Then Fabian approaches the chute and points a pistol at Hitler. When questioned about his identity, Hitler says he never pretended to be someone else. Fabian claims that Hitler's propaganda is misleading people, to which Hitler responds that in 1933, voters chose a leader who publicly expressed his whole ideology. With his rifle, Fabian drags Hitler up a building. He cornered Hitler and called him a sociopath. Hitler responds by stating that ordinary people chose a supreme leader and trusted him with the nation's future. He argues that they choose him because they have similar beliefs. Fabian shoots Hitler in a fit of rage, causing him to fall from the roof and fall on the street. Soon, Hitler's voice can be heard telling Fabian that no German can get rid of him. Hitler, who had just been knocked to the ground, reappears behind it. Just then, Bellini calls a cut in the shoot, and everyone applauds for the shot. It turned out to be only a movie shoot, with a random actor portraying the character of Fabian. Hitler then tells everyone to remember their comrades who are no longer with them. Cromier is crying at another location while looking through a hole in the mental hospital at Fabian. Following the success of the movie, Hitler and Bellini are quite busy signing autographs and doing interviews. The people on the street appear to like Hitler and salute him respectfully as they pass by a vehicle. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.